Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology, Debunking Mythology. Sattology means science of truth, the study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake, lie, or imagination. So in Sattology, we cover a lot of geographical, astrological references which are mentioned in Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Veda. And generally, to an intelligent mind, you see no contradiction because they try to triangulate between multiple places like Ramayana information, triangulate with Mahabharata information. But not only that, there's another set of proof in Ramayana Mahabharata which is geographical and which also gives more credibility to those texts. So a very special guest, you know him as Rishi Muni Tapasvi, and he does wonderful work on inspiring many people to read Mahabharata Ramayana either to contradict him or to prove him right. So let us welcome Shri Nilesh Oak.
Namaskar, Aditya ji.
Namaskar. You know, the uh, geographical proof, when we talk about geographical proofs from Mahabharata and Ramayana, generally nowadays people have started taking it seriously because of your work. And before you, many people, including, I'll give credit to Pandit Sri Kota Venkatachalam,
Kota Venkatachalam ji. Yeah.
Shankaracharya. Yeah, so I will give him credit also. Many other people have done the same work. And most of the people have not done anything incorrectly because ultimately they all, like the 12 Lanka being in a different location, is told by Prabhupada, Pandit Kota Venkatachalam. And before that, many of the saints, which we don't, Kalyug memory, we are not able to take their name, but give due credit to all of them. But still, people, in spite of all the evidences, they still call Mahabharata Ramayana as mythology. What is your view on that?
My view is that uh, it used to frustrate me a lot, uh, Aditya ji. Fortunately, the study of Bhagavad Gita comes handy. And now that I realize that whether it is even good sounding things, like whether you say jnana or shraddha or karma, I mean, these are all good things, right? But also yajna, dana, tapa, uh, diet, like, ahar. These also we directionally just we hear the word and we take them positive. Same thing with the buddhi. When we say, oh, that person is buddhiman, we say this in a good way, like it's a compliment. What Bhagavad Gita gives you, which is a different insight, that all of these things, while when we have not qualified them, while in a general sense these are to be seen in a positive light, the reality remains that each of these have different flavors. Okay, so buddhi, in fact, I now talk of like two different ways of classifying buddhi, and that is my answer to your question. So one is, say, when people are trying to understand certain buddhi that they have, it could be rajasic, it could be sattvic, it could be tamasic. So that is one problem. That's why there is the variations in how people understand, like why some people still call it mythology. And then the other classification that I mean, I knew it always and I used to use it in a private conversation, but now almost I turned that into an official series for my talks, is like Pujya Buddhi, Pramanya Buddhi, and Viveka Buddhi, which is a very different classification than Sattva Rajatama. Sattva Rajatama is like I don't know, it's a one type of classification. The other one is a Shraddha Buddhi, Pramanya Buddhi, and Viveka Buddhi. So by Shraddha Buddhi, we will say there is nothing wrong with it if it is a sattvic in nature, so sattvic here from this one category, and Shraddha. Oh, wow. Actually, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. No problem. However, of course, if somebody is in a sattvic mode and a Shraddha Buddhi, that person will not bother fighting about something, because if they are getting into argument, then purely somebody staying in a Shraddha Buddhi will not be enough. The person has to evolve oneself to Pramanya Buddhi and to Viveka Buddhi. So I'm saying because of these permutation combinations of these six things that I just mentioned, we get all these varieties. So even when our great sages, our gurus, our text, our ancient narratives are giving so much evidence, are telling in a convincing fashion, likes of you and me, in our limited way, we are doing this with our limited ability, let's say, still people will in a very dogmatic fashion, will stick to calling it either mythology, that is sort of on a secular side, you may say, non-dharmic side. But even on the so-called dharmic side, just like jnana we consider as a sattva, or jnana as a sattva, similarly, when we say dharmic, we immediately think it's a good thing. But there can be somebody who is truly, I mean, who is in that dharmic space, okay, has the shraddha, but can be very tamasi. And then it becomes a nightmare actually to convince such a person. So those are the varieties. One thing I will quickly mention today, this morning, somebody, again, the person, the original author is not known to me. But he is publishing a book, a new book is being coming out. New book is coming out. And that title, like, I forgot the title now, but whatever, it's a dharmic book. And it said something at the bottom like the paintings based on the dharmic themes or something of that effect. But it said based on Indian mythology text. Okay, so now I don't know if this is too late for that book or something, but I just wrote to the person who sent this information to me, and I said, too sad, why mythology? And I said, it's another lost opportunity, because every time, if we don't take precaution to be very careful in how when we title something, the words that we use, and it's a journey for all of us. I mean, we are speaking in English, so some words will come. Every time we don't use the right word, or we use the wrong word, such as mythology, okay, it's a lost opportunity. Now, how many people are going to read that book or read the title, and the point of that so-called mythology, which it is not, okay, but is going to be reiterated, re-emphasized on people's brain. So very sad. I mean, it's not a end of the world, but it's a sad thing. So I think it's because of this variation in the buddhi, and people are not willing to put effort to change it, because the buddhi can be changed. Shraddha buddhi can be evolved to pramanya buddhi. That doesn't mean shraddha buddhi goes away. You still need a shraddha. And pramanya to viveka, you still need pramanya and shraddha. But people don't get that. And I think that's because of the tamas and people's unwillingness to modify or stick with what they know and think that is the truth and nothing needs to be done. Sorry, long answer, but that is the answer.
Yeah, all the Puranas are written for different guna. People guna, vritti, prakriti. And
Hmm.
so based on your guna which you are in, you'll understand only that much for which you are. That's why the yoga means to vritti nirodhascha, chitta vritti, chitta nirodhascha. You need to rise above the vritti and the chitta, and then you'll
Correct.
start understanding the shastra. You know?
Yeah.
So, and today we are talking about the Pragjyotishpur,
Yes.
which is the name is also Pragya Jyotish, which is very spiritual name actually.
Yeah.
So let us discuss there what is Prag, because people are really wondering about it. I've come across both versions, which which we already
Yeah.
discussed before twice.
Yes, yes. And so the way I thought of talking about it, I actually created a response to one person, is that anytime in some, I mean, I'm not uh, emotionally attached to where Pragjyotishpur is. Actually, it doesn't come into my research for most part. Now, as you may be very much aware that in modern times, you can say, or it is thought by many people, and we will discuss what could be the reasoning behind it, or at least the possible reasoning. We don't, at least I don't know for sure. Is that when I will put something and some context comes for Pragjyotishpur, or Narakasur, or Bhagadatta, Bhagadatta who fought in the Mahabharata war, immediately somebody, and when I will mention the location based on what Mahabharata is saying, somebody has to make a comment, and I don't see problem with it. Is only that other than making that comment, that person or whoever those different individuals are, they're not interested in finding the truth. That's what frustrates me. So immediately somebody will make a comment saying, oh yeah, no, the Pragjyotishpur is in Assam. That's what the comment will come. So let me actually share a presentation that I had done here. And what I thought, I will use the framework of, the Nyaya Darshan. What Nyaya Darshan says is that uh, how an individual, like say you or me, or different researchers, how they go finding the truth about something, or how do they resolve a doubt, a sandigdha situation, is really up to them. I mean, there are methods to do it, and people may follow the method, but usually the path to the truth is kind of a trial and error. You don't know when you try something or you go to certain text to read it whether you're going to get the answer or not, whether it will be objectively testable or not, and so on. But once that is done, once you are convinced and you have figured this out, when it comes to telling somebody else, whether an individual or group of people, Nyaya Darshana uses something called avayava as a framework. And Nyaya Darshana says anyone who wants to think properly and anyone who wants to communicate their thoughts properly to the others, to other side or to others, must become expert in the avayava framework. And this is the avayava framework. There are in the mainstream Nyaya Darshana, there are 5 steps to this avayava framework. So there are 5 avayava, 5 limbs. And then there is also another framework which adds 5 addition to them. We will not do that today. So as it comes to Pragjyotishpur, Aditiji, here is the plan. What I want to do is I want to go through quickly the Ramayana reference and Mahabharata reference. And then since you have, I mean, you have a deep study of many subjects, doesn't mean everything you will know on the tip of your tongue. But then I want to ask, I will share something that I know, what might have led to the identification of Pragjyotishpur geographically in the Assam area, but want to ask you whatever you may know from either Ramayana, Mahabharata or other Puranas about the location of Pragjyotishpur and why it might have been identified with Assam. But based on my study of Ramayana Mahabharata, here is what I'm going to show. So Pratidnya, as my assertion, if you want to call it, I'm saying Pragjyotishpur of Narakasur, Bhagadatta, was to the west of India. And the reason I'm saying was is because right now there is no place called Pragjyotishpur. So, for example, we have still Kurukshetra, or we still have Dwarka, although moved from the original Dwarka, which is inside the ocean. But the point is still the Dwarka as a city exists, Kurukshetra as a place exists. That is not the case with Pragjyotishpur. Other than if you go to say Assam right now, people will take you somewhere and say, yeah, this area used to be called Pragjyotishpur, but not Pragjyotishpur today. So my point, therefore, I use the term was, and again, I'm referring to the time of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So Mahabharata more than 7,500 years ago, Ramayana more than 14,000 years ago. Therefore, I'm using that. Now, in the Avayava system of Nyaya Darshana, the Hetu is like a reasoning, or you can also say statement of a theory. So how am I going to support my Pratidnya, my assertion, based on, I'm giving the reason, my reasoning there, based on the descriptions of geography, as well as the cardinal directions from ancient Indian narratives for Pragjyotishpur with respect to India, okay, as the reference point. The Udaharan, for example, I will say, is the Ravana and Ravana's followers and Ravana's clan members are called Nairutyas in Valmiki Ramayana multiple times. Okay, and Nairutya is what? Southwest direction. Now, why is that? I mean, you have done a lot of talks, and also your one arrow, one kill. You have talked about the location of Lanka. You and me have done many episodes on locations of Lanka. Rupa Bhattiji is working on locations of Lanka. Jivan Rav has done a lot of work. Actually, it has created a manthan. Many people are emotional because of it, which is all good. We are quoting from Ramayana and Mahabharata, and so why they're emotional could be another interesting thing. So Nairutyas is in the southwest direction, and let's say with reference to India, so take Nagpur. So this is a udaharan. So therefore, as a drishtanta, we say, and actually we can indeed find the references. The way Hanumana went all the way to Mahendragiri, or the Vanaras have gone to meet Sampati. That was a mountainous region, and that's the region of the Kerala, like a Tekadi and Munnar and that area. Or when Ram and Lakshman along with Sugriva left with the Vanara army towards Lanka, they are following the Saya mountains, and they're following the Malaya mountains, and so on. So this is all consistent for that southwest direction for Lanka. So that's an udaharana, drishtanta we are taking from somewhere else, applying to the problem of Pragjyotishpur. So now we use the evidence from Ramayana Mahabharata and say, hey, based on the descriptions there, we can say that the Pragjyotishpur of Naraka, Bhagadatta, or Vajradatta, who is a son of Bhagadatta. Bhagadatta is the one who fought in the Mahabharata war from the Kaurava side, and Vajradatta is his son. So we will see these all three references referring to Pragjyotishpur in the west direction, west of India. And we have actually some references in approximate ones, Adityaji, to tell us how far west we have to go. And final conclusion I'm going to say, therefore, which is same as Pratidnya, is that Pragjyotishpur of Naraka Bhagadatta is to the west of India. So let me quickly walk you through Ramayana Mahabharata reference, and then let me ask you what might be the reason why people think it is in Pragjyotishpur. Okay, and granted, there can be many Pragjyotishpur, but those people who insist Pragjyotishpur of Narakasur and Bhagadatta is in Assam, they insist that that is the same Naraka, or sorry, the same Bhagadatta of a Mahabharata. And that's where I see a problem. Okay, let me walk you through Ramayana reference. So this is kind of the landscape, and just so that people understand. So this is where I am claiming approximate region, like where I'm showing is like in Iraq, for example, like near Baghdad. Okay. That's the region, that's the area region, not a specific city. I'm saying where it appears to be the Pragjyotishpur of that is described in Ramayana, but that is also described in Mahabharata. Whereas many people, when anytime I mention Pragjyotishpur and I mention that in the West, somebody has to come and ask me the question, well, it's in Assam, man, it's in Assam. And I asked them, like, okay, where is the reference? And I have not seen the reference, Adityaji. So I would love to see it from you or from other individuals. So this is the Sangshay. Okay, somebody is saying it is here all the way as far west as Iraq, and somebody is saying it is in Assam. And the same Pragjyotishpur, not just two cities with the same name, even with the historically connection, like of a Naraka, Narakasur, or Bhagadatta of a Mahabharata or Vajradatta. So let's see what Ramayana has to say, and then Mahabharata. So let's begin with Ramayana. So when Sugriva is making splitting four parties, four Vanara parties, sending them in the four cardinal direction, east, south, west, and the north. And the Vanara party, which is going in the west direction, these are the descriptions Sugriva is telling them as landmarks as they follow. So, for example, he says, starting with the central India, they will go towards Saurashtra, which is the northern part of Gujarat. Then they will go to Balik. Okay, and it's these names are important for our audience to remember, and they can actually go to Google and type the Balik. Saurashtra, everyone knows, most of the Indians would know, but Balik, and find out where exactly it is. Okay, I'll come to that in a minute. Then also, this is very clear that these are the descriptions of Vanaras and guidance for Vanaras going in the west direction, Paschimam Disham. This is Kishkinda Kand, chapter 42. So anyone can go and read it. It is the Grantha Pramanya is there for anyone to go and refer to. As Sugriva explains what will happen as they go further and further west, there are some names that he mentions. I just want to point it out. Panchajanam or Hayagriva. And we are not going to discuss this today, but the reason I mention them is that anytime you read about Narakasur anywhere, these two names come. Okay, Panchajana or sometimes Panchanada, Panchajanya, and also Hayagriv. Okay, so definitely there is a connection. But then fast forward to verse 31, and we have a very clear description. Again, remember, going in the west direction, the Vanaras, as if they have already gone beyond Saurashtra, beyond Balik, beyond that Panchajana, Hayagriv, Danavas region. Okay, Chaturabhage, Samudrasya, Chakravan, Nama Parvata, they have gone beyond Chakravan Parvat, and so on. And now they are coming to Tatra Pragjyotisham Nama, here, Jatarupa Mayampuram, Pragjyotishpur. That's where they are coming. Now, who's Pragjyotishpur? Is it just another city? Because there can be many cities with that name. Well, not any city. Yasmin Vasati Dushta Atma Narako Nama Danava. Okay. Naraka Danav, okay, is residing in this Pragjyotishpur. Now, when Sugriv says it, whether he was actually that time residing or that was the city of a Narakadano, just like we will say if you go to Ayodhya today, we say it's Bhagwan Ram's city. Although Bhagwan Ram in his avatar form is not there today, he was there only 14,000 years ago. So was the Naraka contemporary of Ramayana? I have no comment on that. He could be. There could be many Narakasur. In Narakasur, meaning I'm not making this new theory. I'm simply saying, just like those same names get repeated, like we have Dilip 1, Dilip 2, Ajamida 1, Ajamida 2. There could be many such things. So what Ramayana reference says is that it is definitely west of India and beyond Balika, beyond Panchajana, beyond Hayagriva, beyond Chakravan Nam Parvata in the further west direction. So that's my evidence number one. Let's go to Mahabharata. Now, this is before the Mahabharat war. Again, Adityaji, you know this. Actually, we have possibly discussed this before. But even if we discuss it, the subject doesn't go away. And you asked me the question that also I feel that frustration. No, I wouldn't say frustration, but I'm saying, come on, guys, we have to up our game. As a dharmics, we have to up our game. We cannot be just asking the same questions without doing the tapasya. I mean, people have to go back and watch our Sattology series of 100 plus talks. Just do some search with the keywords and so on. Anyways, so this is in Sabha Parva of a Mahabharat. This is at the time of Rajasuya Yajna. Again, just see the similarities. Now, so Yudhishthir is going to perform the Rajasuya Yajna, like becoming Samrat, Chakravarti, whatever you want to call it. And he sends his four brothers in four directions. Bhima is going to the east. Now, east with respect to Indraprastha, so say New Delhi. Then Arjun is going north, Sahadev is going south, and Nakul is going west. Now here, this is the descriptions that I'm showing you are the descriptions for Arjun. What is interesting is, in that description, he says, hey, first he went to Anartha. Now, Anartha is like a Saurashtra. Like people can go and check on the Google or whatever different sources, ancient Indian narrative sources they have. That's the Anartha kingdom, Kushasthali and whatnot. So it's a very much Saurashtra, Gujarat area. So he's starting there, although he's going north. In this case, it is to be understood that he's referring to northwest. And what is my proof? I'm going to show you on the couple of pages here. First thing, he's going through Sakala Dvipa. So different dvipa is oceans. Now that oceans are not there straight north unless you go all the way to the Arctic Sea. Sapta Dvipa Chayen Rupa. And then as he goes further and further, okay, then he comes to Pragjyotisha. And whose Pragjyotish? Again, is this like another city with just a same name? No, because if you go to the next line, Tatra Raja Mahanasid Bhagadatto Vishampate. This is that Bhagadatta who fought during the Mahabharat war from the Kaurava side and then got killed. Okay, so there the Yuddha happens between Arjuna and Bhagadatta. Those are not the details important today. Bhagadatta gives blessings to Arjuna, agrees to pay the taxes, and Arjuna moves on, in his preparation for the Rajasuya. Now, if you go to the next chapters, there are some places Arjun goes, and I just want to mention those. For example, Dasyu Parvata Vasina, okay, that's one. Kashmir, he goes to Kashmir. So he has gone, say, think of from Anartha, like a Gujarat, he has gone towards the west, think of like a Oman and Iraq, Iran, Saudi, that area. And now he has turned backwards as if, and he is going to, he visited Kashmir, but he also visited Trigarta. And our audience can check where Trigarta is. It is into that northwest area, beyond Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, or that area, or east of Caspian Sea in the northwest again, which is Uttara Madra and Uttara Kuru. Then you also see, just like Trigarta, you also see Kashmir, you also see Balika, you also see Kamboj. So it's like, he has gone from Gujarat and gone towards, like, say, Basra, Baghdad, that area, and has turned now eastward and now going through that area. So it's very, very clear where he has gone and where the Pragjyotishpur was mentioned. Okay. Now, quickly, I want to take you to the second set of reference from Mahabharata. This is after the Mahabharat war. Okay, so Mahabharat war has happened. 18 days are gone. Bhishma is on the bed of arrows for 98 days. Finally, the day of winter solstice come. He passes away. Then during that time, Arjun goes to the north. I mean, true north, you can say this time. He goes to the area of a Kailash and Manasarovar and comes back with a wealth because the treasury is empty. Now, after that, they decide to do Ashwamedha Yajna. And in this time, the horse of the Ashwamedha is let loose, and he is going to go around for 1 year, and Arjuna is following with the army. Now, this is the description of that time. So, this is after the Mahabharat war. Okay. And now they are performing Ashwamedha Yajna. Ashwamedha Ashwa is let loose and he's going to roam around for 1 year. And Arjuna is following that Ashwa with the army. Where do they go? So one place they go is a Trigartha, Trigartha land that we also saw at the time of Rajasuya, when Arjuna has gone in the north direction, but I'm saying it's a northwest direction because he started with Anartha, okay, and the same places. Then again you see Trigartha. He had also gone Trigartha that time. Again we have a Trigartha here. And then as we go through, he goes to where? Pragjyotish. Pragjyotisham athabhetya Vecharatsa Hayottamaha. Now, what is interesting is, I mean, shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Now, who does he meet there? Who does he come across, clashes with in Pragjyotishpur? Not Naraka, better not, and not Bhagadatta, because Bhagadatta is dead during the Mahabharat war. Now, who is there? Bhagadattatmaja, son of Bhagadatta, and his name is also given. It's Vajradatta. So again, it is in the northwest direction. Okay. What is the proof? Again, Trigartha, and so on. Again, the elephant is very constant. Like some people, Aditya, I heard the fact somebody tried to argue with me. It was a one-on-one, face-to-face discussion somewhere. He said Bhagadatta used to fight on the back of an elephant. And where are the elephants in Iraq? Well, they are not there today. Of course, in the zoos of different cities around the world, whether irrespective of the weather, today we have elephant, which means a royalty can always procure elephants for whatever their love for elephants may be. But just like Bhagadatta fought on the elephant, even here we have a description. The Vajradatta, his son, is also fighting by using elephant with Arjun. Okay, that's just a sidebar to answer the people who just say, "Oh, since there is an elephant and there is no elephant in Iraq right now, how can we say that?" So the point is, we are talking of the situation 7,500 years ago. But let me give you, besides Trigartha, let me also show you some more places. This is a fighting between Vajradatta and Arjun. But here, now once that was over, and Arjun did not kill Vajradatta, just agreed, got the agreement to that he will pay the taxes to Yudhishthir and so on, and he moved on. But now he has gone in the west, remember? That's what my claim is. And Trigartha and those places are there. Now when he's coming back, what is he doing? He goes to Sindhudesh. Now that makes sense. Sindhudesh is definitely not in Assam. Okay. Now, is this like a general Sindhudesh in the sense of some land near the ocean? Then we can say even Bengal might qualify or Odisha might qualify. But this is, of course, Sindhudesh is very clear. It is along the Sindhu River. But a very clear explanation also exists, like Jayadrath, the mention of a Jayadrath, and something interesting happens. When the war continues, Arjuna is a very powerful warrior. Finally, realizing that her kingdom will be destroyed, Dushala, who is sister of Kauravas, Duryodhana, and them, Dushasana, who is married to Jayadrath, she comes to the battlefield to meet Arjuna. This is after the Mahabharat war with her young son Suratha. And then there is a conversation, and she said, "Look, he's your bhanja, he's your nephew. And please don't destroy this land." And of course, Arjuna agrees. Arjun gets the agreement. She agrees to it, the taxation arrangement, and accepting the subservient status and whatnot. And he moves on. So the point again is Arjuna has gone in the west direction or northwest direction. So those are the two references from Mahabharata, one reference from Ramayana. And let me quickly just say what could be possibly the reason for people in our times connecting Pragjyotishpur with Assam. But I know you will have something more, possibly going back to Mahabharata times, and I'm very curious to hear that. But quickly, what I found on Pragjyotishpur when I typed it in a Google and took me to Wikipedia is that what it said is that one king Bhaskar Varman of Varman dynasty, he belongs to about 6th century, so about 1400 years ago. He claimed a lineage with a Naraka and Bhagadatta, okay, and also the Pragjyotishpur, therefore. And maybe that is the reason I am suggesting, or I don't know, if I wonder if that's the reason why people started thinking Pragjyotishpur is in Assam. And not only that, the kings who came after him from different other dynasties like a Mlencha or a Pala dynasty, they also use that same theme, like making a connection with Pragjyotisha and Naraka and Bhagadatta. So this, Aditya, that's what I have to say. I want to stop on that and ask you, besides this, I mean, besides the Ramayana and Mahabharata, which tend to point to the west direction, what references in, say, Ramayana or even Mahabharata and other Puranas that, if any, that you are aware of, that might explain why Pragjyotishpur is thought in the Assam?
See, I agree with you most of 99% on this one on the west side, because when Bhim goes on the east side, he doesn't go through Pragjyotishpur.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Bhim is the one who went Ratsu Yagya to the east,
Hmm.
and Bhim doesn't go there because
Hmm.
he very clearly Kashira, Subahu, Matsya, Malad, Anag, and Matsya kingdom is a big kingdom. Even though
Hmm.
the capital is Virat, but
Hmm.
it's a big kingdom stretching even to the south of Kosal and
Hmm.
right till the south of Angadesh also. It's a
Hmm.
big
Hmm.
kingdom.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
people also think Matsya was just Maharashtra. No, Matsya kingdom is between Indraprastha, Hastinapur, and Upaplavya. Between
Yeah.
that, in
And
fact,
could be,
Upaplavya is part of Matsya kingdom.
right. It could be multiple Matsya kingdoms too. Okay.
Multiple small,
Yeah.
small part.
Yeah.
Even today, I think Matsya kingdom was generally who worship the Meena Sharira form of Vishnu.
Acha.
So that
Then
is
one more thing I want to add. So just because you said it and it just came to me right now. So one thing what I was suggesting is actually they can be two different Matsya kingdom. That's one possibility. But the second possibility could be like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's thing, which is he has a Maharashtra area, he has his Swarajya, but the parts of it is are down there to Jinji.
yeah,
Suddenly
that's right.
middle is somebody's else, but a
Yes, sir.
Jinji. So it could be like that. Sorry,
Could be
go
like that.
on.
Could be
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And also the Shalva, when
Hmm.
Shalva attacks,
Hmm.
Shalva. So it is very clear that Draupadi's Vastraharan has not happened. Second
Hmm.
match has not happened.
Hmm.
Ratso Yagya is completed. Krishna is coming back because he hears that the Shalva has already attacked Dwarka.
Hmm.
At
Hmm.
that time, Dwarka was already in the middle of the ocean.
Hmm.
So at that time, Shalva and Bhagadath, I want to make it clear, Bhagadath was an ally of Jarasandh.
Hmm. Hmm.
Jarasandh controlled Bhagadath. So,
Interesting. Hmm.
and 25% of landmass was through alliances of Jarasandh. He has
Okay.
created the alliances of all the kings, and that's how he ruled.
Ah,
So the story when the Krishna tells about Jarasandh, that without defeating Jarasandh, you cannot do Rashtriya Yajna.
correct.
So there, Bhagadath is Sena are under Jarasandh and they're training with him because he had the largest forces at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the when the Krishna, Yadus are defeated by Shalva,
Hmm.
and then even Balramji faces a defeat in Mahabharata. It is mentioned that some people may not like it, but it is just you can call it a Leela. But generally, for but he was
Defeat from who?
from
Balaram
Shalva,
facing. Huh?
from Shalva.
Shalva. Well, and Krishna Balaram has faced defeat from Jarasandha. Like
Jarasandha also
Mahabharata talks of 17 times.
17 times.
Now, Harivamsha tells a different story, but that's a different
Yes,
matter. Yeah.
17 times Krishna defeated Jarasandha, and Jarasandha came back.
No, but that's a Harivamsha. If you see in Mahabharata, it's the other way. I will, next time we will find the
We'll
references.
discuss. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, you're right. Harivansha has that 12,000 shloka. So
Correct.
the when the he attacks with the plane, and the plane comes from the eastern direction, not from the western direction.
Hmm.
That is one reference over there.
Hmm.
And also the when the plane is broken, Mahabharat says the plane broke over in the land.
Hmm.
Bhagavad Purana says the plane dropped in the ocean.
Interesting. So some variation there. Yeah.
But going
Sauber, right? The plane's name is the Sauber, correct?
Saubha, given
Yeah.
by
Shalva's plane. Yeah.
made by Maidanav and blessed by Pashupatinath.
Very
So,
nice. Yeah.
so that's a plane, and then plane is going towards his northeast direction, towards the land as soon as possible. Because
Okay.
if you go towards the west, the ocean is longer. I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
so plane is trying to find a land, and the pieces of the plane fall on the land.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it is going towards Jarasandha's kingdom for shelter. But Jarasandh is already killed now. So, but
Yeah.
he has some landing strip. Maybe something must be there.
Correct. Correct.
So these are the references. But what you showed in the direction is absolutely right because Anartha Desh, Arjun. So I believe that both the places can be there. One
Hmm.
place can be a Pratibhu, one place can be the real. Because Pragjyotishpur, Guwahati, that area is always known for great rishis tapasya, great
Hmm.
rishis.
Hmm.
Even today, it is still part of Himalaya, many areas over there.
Hmm.
And that was a hilly terrain.
Hmm.
And Jarasandh used to rule over the hilly terrain mostly on the east. And we can also safely imagine at that time, the Alaskan landmass was connected with
True.
Asia ocean level, because based on your studies, last presentation you had,
Yes.
around 7,000 years back, the ocean level were around 70, 80 meters below.
Correct. Correct.
So if that is the case, then it was a land bridge between Asia and USA today,
Yes.
North American continent.
Yeah.
So so that is a easy route for people to run down, easy people to run down. So so I think both are correct in a way because both have some references, but
Right.
the western side has more references than the eastern side.
Right. Let me add something you put very interesting. So one is like you're talking about the land bridge and Mayadanav. So with the case of Mayadanav, it's very interesting. When after the Khandavan Daha Parva, when Maya says, I want to do something, and Krishna says, build a Maya Sabha for Pandavas. And then he asked a permission of like a certain time period, like a month or so. He said, I need to go and come back with maybe his crew or whatnot. What is interesting is the description says he went in the northeast direction, which is now, think of from India, you going in the northeast direction is towards the the Alaska area and sort of coming down. I mean, if he came to Mexico and then took his crew back with him. So that's one. Couple more points I want to mention. Something very interesting that we can relate in the modern times. So, for example, imagine Jarasandha and Bhagadatta. So, assuming still the location of Bhagadatta is, say, Iraq. For our discussion, we'll take that as a Baghdad, right? That's how they say, and Jarasandha in the east. And how can they be a collaboration? Somebody may question, but those who have seen the history of India of last 80 years shouldn't be surprised. When India was split and Pakistan was formed, with that crazy whole thing, what was that initially? Many people forget this. It was a East Pakistan and a West Pakistan,
That's
two
right.
land masses separated by a huge country in between India, and they were the same country. So what you're saying, that is possible, right? So like a Jarasandha on the east side here, Magadha and Bihar area, and Bhagadatta on the west side. Then quickly the second point, I'm just making a modern analogy. Think of a Gulf War, the America attacking Iraq, the first war,
First
like
one.
Bush, Chandrasekhar was a prime minister and so on. I don't know if I think it's the first one, but I could be wrong. But either way, whether first or second Gulf War, uh, America had made an arrangement with India where they were getting their planes refueled in India to attack Iraq. So America is to the west of Iraq, India is to the east of Iraq, but the planes were getting refueled in India to come back and attack Iraq. So, for example, when you are saying the Sauber, the Shalva's plane, after attacking Dwarka, when it is escaping or whatever reason, it is going towards the northeast, you said, towards Jarasandha's area or towards Assam. That could be, it's like their refueling base. So Bhagadatta could have a base there, in the northeast region, and that memory might have survived, or maybe that was called Pragjyotishpur too, like a West Pakistan and East Pakistan. I mean, we are speculating. I'm speculating, but I'm saying that can be very consistent with the story you told.
Very
Yeah.
consistent. And also, Sahadev did not participate in the war. He was not killed. because he was the last
Huh.
heir, he was last heir to Jarasandh kingdom, and
Okay.
that's where I always say the lineage of Magad kings has been kept alive.
Ah,
So
interesting. Yes.
when the future Kalki avatar comes in, because these kings will rise up. It's a Kshatriya thing, Chandragupta Maurya came from there.
Yeah.
Many great kings came from that area. So
Good point.
the Kali, so one lineage is kept alive,
Correct.
and
Correct.
that is Sahadev lineage. And that's why I always said that next ruler of the world, which will be the most powerful, will be from Magad, because
Ah,
that is why it is being kept alive.
good, good. And we
So
just to close, I should also mention, because you are casually saying Sadev, but you know how many of the listeners are. They are going to confuse with the They are going to confuse with the Pandavas Sadev. No, this is the Sadev as a son of a Jarasandha that
Jarasan, yeah,
Aditya is referring to. No, you are referring the right one. But people will say suddenly, how come the Sadev is the king of a Magadha? It's important to realize that the names repeat,
names
right?
repeat. Yeah,
Names repeat and in a different dynasties.
so many
Very
people are
good.
named Krishna nowadays,
Right.
and your
So
name is also
hopefully,
Nilkant.
correct. So hopefully we have made this clear, and not that we have given all the answers, but what I would suggest to our audience is if they want to know more and understand the Assam connection, they might have to go through additional ancient Indian narratives, read the details, right? Read Puranas, and try to bring it all together. But I don't feel that much passionate about. I mean, there are so many important subjects to deal with. So, Pragjyotishpur location, I just said what is there in Ramayana Mahabharata. You added what you know from Mahabharata. But those people who feel more passionate, maybe people of Assam, for example, it's like if I want to find where Shivaji Maharaj was born, I may be a bit more passionate than say Narakasur. you know, so they should research. With that, I think we will leave it to them. Back to you.
Thank you. And also Narakasur episode, the killing of Narakasur is very much described in the mountains next to Badrinath, towards the east of
Hmm.
Badrinath.
Hmm.
And it is said that from the top of the hill, you see as if like uh, uh, big bones of Narakasur fell down.
Yeah, which is described. I want to go back to reference in the Vanaparva.
Vanaparva.
You may know the Rishi, either Lomash Rishi or Markandeya Rishi or some such Rishi who is walking with Pandavas. Okay, this is during their Vanvas. That Rishi shows Pandava brothers the bones of Narakasur.
Dhaumya. Dhaumya
Dhaumya,
shows.
thank you.
Dhaumya
Dhaumya, right?
shows.
Yeah. So that is also the confusion whether Krishna killed Narakasur.
Yeah,
That is.
they stand on the Badrinath and tells
Hmm,
Yudhishthir Maharaj,
hmm,
see, you see the bones, these are Narkasur's bones, and then beyond that is Kailash,
hmm.
and beyond Kailash in the Ishan Kund direction is the mountain Hiranyashringa.
Okay.
Hiranyashringa, and that's why the Maidana brought the gold and the Dravya, I
Hmm,
don't which to make the Bhavan of
hmm,
Yudhishthir
hmm,
on
hmm,
Krishna's orders.
hmm, 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 hmm.
And that time, I'll give you one very interesting episode. That time, Maidana tells Krishna and Arjun that I have made many great palaces for different people in different parts of the earth, especially Asura.
Ah,
So now he's referring to all the places which you mentioned in South America, because all have same design,
correct, correct.
same design in India, same design over there.
Yes,
Ashta Digdarshak,
yes,
8 directions.
very true. In fact, today or
And
whenever I was looking for Pragjyotishpur, I found one statue from Assam. Next time I'll try to pull it, and I'll pull one from Honduras, and I'll show you how identical they are. Sorry.
totally identical. And
Yes.
also all are made in Viman shape.
Hmm.
Arjun Yudhishthir Sabha was also Viman shape.
Hmm.
10,000 hath by 10,000 hath, which is
Hmm.
one hath is 1.5 meters,
1.5
4
feet,
point,
right? Yeah.
yeah,
So
meters.
15,000 feet. Yeah.
So it's a 4.5 kilometer by 4.5 kilometer.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was a dimension.
Hmm.
And and it is just a people. It is not a mythology, nor it is a conjecture. It is not something. I'm just saying. If you look at the current site of Rashtrapati Bhavan,
Hmm.
it is 4.5 kilometer by 4.5 kilometer.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I'm not saying anything, but I'm
Yes.
just saying that it is, and I'm saying also, but it is the Sabha Bhavan dimensions are exactly there.
Right. You are stating it and leaving it for people and their intellect to decide how
Correct.
much they can digest.
They can digest and they can research also more further, because uh, the two three references from Bhagavad Puran, and believe me, I have read many Purans, but one Puran in I've read again and again for references is Bhagavad Puran. So
Hmm.
there the instance of Balram killing Hastinapur to pull it into the river Yamuna,
Okay.
and you'll see the southwest. He pulls towards the southwest direction.
Hmm.
Now, now Hastina on the Yamuna is in the eastern direction. He's pulling towards the southwestern direction, towards
Hmm.
Yamuna.
Hmm.
So that means the Yamuna must be flowing, and that part of South Delhi is higher.
Okay.
You know. Now it
Interesting.
can be, it is a Puranic story, but relevant lessons may not be. We may not see it as it is, but some faith is required to see the directions and everything.
Yeah. Or clear descriptions, which we can sort of when the clear descriptions are there, we can build a theory. If it
Correct.
just said Balarama pulled something in some direction, we don't know what to make of it, right?
Yes.
So depending on the descriptions, but very good. I hopefully we gave people enough to think about
Pragjyotishpur.
Pragjyotishpur. And anytime somebody comes and asks you or me, we can point them to this particular episode. Okay.
And one good thing, really good thing, Nilesh, you do is triangulate. I've been saying it for many years,
Feels
but
like hundreds of years. You're
feels
going to
like
say
100.
100.
Feels like many times I've said it, hundreds of times may have said it.
Yeah.
But what you have done is you have actually shown it. You're triangulating Ramayana, triangulating Mahabharata, triangulating Puran, and I think that's the right way to do it.
Mm.
And then you
Thank you.
understand. Like you cannot understand the second chapter of Gita unless you understand the 18th chapter of Gita.
Mm.
Not possible because Sarvadharman Parityaja sometimes become the key to understanding second chapter also.
Yeah, very true. Thank
So
you.
thank you so much and namaste.
Namaskar.